Hello. Okay, so we've got some revised studies. These are from Millie. Let's take a look. Previously, the studies were different. Let me pull one of the studies up to kind of show um, what exactly we're talking about here. Okay, so this is the older study on the bottom. Let's zoom in. Here's where we started. This is the old study. You can see there's some broken anatomy. The torso kind of just attaches straight into the pelvis. There's no stomach. There's no abdomen. New version, looking better. Looking better. Yeah, there's looking better. There's some perspective issues that I think would be good to address for sure. I'll come back to this. This one, looking good. Again, you've got this habit of crunching the torso in, like you're losing the. Let me just pull up my pen. You got to analyze the picture better. I think that's your main problem. Is that like if you come to the picture and we take a look at the picture, like really get in here and look at it. Let's just turn that down a bit. You've got this. The rib cage is here. This is the rib cage. And then the stomach, the abs are here. There's one set of abs, two sets of abs, and then this kind of like fat here, this on top of the abs. And then you've got the abdomen, the sides here. And then under this clothes, you've got the pelvis, which would be the crotch here. And then the hip joint. It comes towards us. So if you do these little lines, this one's coming towards us. Okay, so if I take that and I move it, and then we take it over here and look at yours, you see that you have not drawn the pelvis. You have the you have the rib cage, and then you got the abdomen, and then you forgot his crotch. He's got no crotch. He's got no pelvis. Everyone has a pelvis, so you didn't draw that. That's the only problem. And I think it's you're getting confused with the clothing. Your eyes are playing tricks on you. So like you're seeing the clothing and you're like, well, this is his top part, and then these are his legs. That's how you're viewing it. 'Cause that's how you're drawing it. You're like, this is the top part. These are his legs, but that's not really accurate. The accurate is that he's got a rib cage, an abdomen, and a pelvis, and then legs. So yeah, you probably need to redraw this one. If I were you, I'd redraw this one. I would take more time looking at the image, really look at the image, and really check out what's going on here. Like, zoom in, zoom into this image. Look at the arm. This is where you drew. you do the deltoid, and then you do the bicep, but it like, you see how it kind of connects here? If we look at the actual image, you'll notice that the bicep, it's here, it connects. This is the bicep here on top. This line here that you see, that's the tricep. The tricep is the muscle behind on the back of the arm, and it kind of wraps around. So you're seeing a bottom of the tricep, and then this is the deltoid. The deltoid's got like 3 different sections. So that's what you're seeing. If you zoom in and really take a good look at it, you're like, oh, like you can kind of tell. See the line, the shadow line? It's like there's like a little bit of a line right there. That's where the bicep is. So little things like that you're not seeing, and I'm assuming you're not seeing him because you're like zoomed out like this and you're going into drawing. And this is common for everyone. You see what you want to draw, and then you're like, oh, he's got 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso, and a head, and some feet and hands. And you start drawing what you see, but you don't really analyze it. And I'm saying just you, I'm saying people. People in general don't really analyze what they're seeing. You have to really take a look at what's going on here. This is why it's really good to go to like a life drawing course where you actually like sit in front of actual people that are in front of you, because you can walk around them and you can take a look at like what exactly, like if you see this curve right here on the arm, you're like, what exactly is that? You can like walk around them and be like, oh, that's actually the muscle from behind that's showing from the front. And then this is the bicep here. And then if you look up let's look at the chest real quick. There's the pectoral muscle, and then it goes up. And you'll notice there's this shadow bit here. If we connect, I'm going to do that, the line's a little off. If we connect that shadow, that's one part of the deltoid. Here's another part of the deltoid. Remember I said it's made of 3 sections? That's how it stretches out, right? So this is the pectoral muscle all the way up, it connects into the arm. Then you've got 3 deltoids. Bicep connects kind of back here. It kind of intersects where the pectoral is. I believe it layers. I think the pectoral muscle is like under the bicep, or you'll notice it in the anatomy book. You can kind of see like all the stuff you're noticing if you zoom in and really take a look at it. Zoom in, take a look. Look at how the shadows are moving. You can kind of see this, like, that's the bottom of the rib cage. And then you can kind of follow that up here. That's like the rib cage is like that, right? It's like that shape. And then you can, like I said, you can kind of see where the abs are. 1, 2, 3 pairs of abs. And then here's some sides of the abdomen. And then, like I said, if you zoomed in, you look down here and you're like, well, here's his fly. That's the fly of his pants. So that means all this is like his pelvis. This is just like pelvis, groin, and then the legs attach. Okay, so I recommend you try and draw this one again, but don't just do you can't just do the same thing you've been doing. You can't just You can't just pull it up and then start drawing without really looking at the picture. Really take a look at the picture. Set a timer for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just look at the picture and like look at the body. You could trace over it like I'm doing. You could like take a new layer, zoom in here and be like, let me just trace over what I'm seeing. There's this muscle here, and there's a muscle here, and there's a muscle here. And then you're like, I wonder how that connects. You could open up a picture of like a musculature, like an anatomy écorché, and take a look at the muscles if you want. You don't have to just look at these photos. You could look at the muscles on the body, and then you could look back at him and go, oh, well, this looks like this must be the deltoid. And then this here kind of stops, so that's some kind of, like, that must be the pectoral. See how much it stretches? Look how big that is. Okay, interesting. And then, like, okay, well, there's like a line here. Wonder what that is. That's, like, really investigate. Like I said, you don't need to rely just on this photo. Pull up image. Let me just Google it right now. Let's just Google écorché. Let's see here. Yeah, this is a perfect one. I'll grab this for you. I just found this on Google. Boom. Écorché, right? So, like, you can start seeing, like, you kind of start, like, putting together what you're seeing with what you know. Here's the pectoral muscle. Look how it connects all the way into the arm. Here's the bicep. And according to écorché, the bicep connects underneath the pectoral. Here's what the tricep I was talking about. The deltoids here. You'll notice it's got one section, two section. There's a third section on the back you can't see. Okay, so you can start seeing, like, oh, that's how the muscles attach on a human. And then you can analyze the torso. So, like, again, well, this is the bottom of the rib cage, and it goes up like that because we know what a skeleton looks like. A skeleton has that kind of round shape. And then you've got one set of abs, two sets of abs, three sets of abs. And then here's the actual abdomen portion. I forgot what these are called. Kind of like the love handles. I forgot what the actual anatomy is called. And then the pelvis. According to the écorché, the legs attach on the outside of the pelvis. Okay? So they're on the outside of the pelvis. What does that mean? It means when you're looking at this guy and you're going to draw him, that you got to, like, think about how the hip, it connects outside. Outside like this. This leg connects on the outside. So it kind of wraps around. So this whole unit moves up and down, rotates. It doesn't connect. Let me show you what it doesn't do. I'll change this to green so you understand. It doesn't connect like this. Like the legs come out from the bottom. It doesn't do that. It connects from the outside. Anyway, so it's good to understand that, because you start understanding, like, well, if you're drawing a leg, this whole outside is going to move together. It's not going to be just tubes coming out of a box. So I think let's hone in on what you need to do now. I think you should redraw this guy. Let's make it blue and turn on the layer. You should redraw this guy. I'm going to star it. Take some time to study. This one looks pretty good. This one here. There's still some issues. There's still some issues, again, because I don't think you're necessarily zooming in close enough to look at what's going on. It looks like you traced him a little bit, which is good. But I don't know how zoomed in you got, because if we zoom into here, where is he? Okay. Trying to get that. There we go. If we zoom into here, let's just get the magenta back. You'll see that he's got this thing here, which we know from the écorché. That's the pectoral muscle. See it? It's kind of like a webbing. It looks like a webbing almost. So we come back here, you say, okay, well, that's the pectoral muscle. And this is the, what is that, the trapezius? Let me look that up real quick. I want to make sure I'm telling you the right thing. I always get those mixed up. Trapezius. Yeah, it's a trap. It's trapezius. And from my... It kind of looks like there's a division here. Like that's the front of the deltoid. This is the middle of the deltoid. And then the back of the deltoid's there. So we're seeing like the pectoral here. And then again, like the bicep comes from underneath the pectoral muscle. We saw that in the écorché. Oops, I'm skipping over too big. There we go. And then this side, the side of the arm is always funny because it's like the tricep wraps around. So this is all like the tricep kind of does this. If I draw the arm from a profile, it's the deltoid, the bicep, the tricep kind of does this, and then there's the elbow. If you draw like a muscle guy, there's the elbows right there, and then so the tricep has like these sections to it. You keep that in mind. Okay, so zooming in closer, you understand better the muscles. Let's go to your drawing and take a look. You look like you got his torso and his pelvis and his abdomen in, but your bicep isn't connecting correctly. So let's just bring this back to like what we're doing here exactly. We're getting a better understanding of the poses for your illustration. And if you don't learn how to get the poses correctly now, your illustration will be incorrect later. So the more you spend on this now, by the time it comes time to draw the actual characters from the gorillas in your illustration, you're going to just knock it out real quick because you'll have the poses figured out and you'll understand how the anatomy works. And as you're learning, you've done a couple of versions of this now. It's not a quick process. It's not like you're not instantly learning it. Like if I tell you 2 + 2 = 4, you're just like, okay, I guess it does equal 4. Yeah, I can see 2 and I can see 2 and put it together, or I count it as 4. It's kind of like that. I'm showing you kind of what's happening, but you need to kind of do the study yourself. You got to like like when I study like a picture, I'm doing the kind of thing with my. I don't actually trace the picture the way I'm doing it for you right now, but I do this in my mind. I look at the arm. The arm is kind of complicated to draw here because the hand is facing this way, out that way. So I know that the hand is like kind of like this box. And then it looks like the wrist is coming out. And this muscle here, that's like the forearm. And because I know how the forearm and the arm muscles work, I know that this forearm is twisted. This muscle is going here. It's twisting around. And then the bicep comes out from that elbow pit area on your arm. And then here's the tricep, right? And then the deltoid. I think this is part of the deltoid here. It kind of looks like it is. It's a little hard to tell with the shadow. So oftentimes you'll see tips on how to draw arms. It'll be like, if you can draw a chain, so this is a chain, this way, this way. If you can draw a chain, you can draw an arm, and because it'll be like, because when you're drawing an arm, let's do another version. When you're drawing an arm, it's the deltoid, and it connects in to the tricep and the bicep. Sorry, that's the bicep and tricep. And then it's the forearm. So it's like a chain. Think of it like, so the chain goes, it points this way, and then this one points that way, and this one also points that way. That's the same with the arm. So the deltoid is wrapping and pointing that way, but the bicep wraps this way and points that way. So it's kind of like interlocking chain. So if you know it's like an interlocking chain, then when you look at this guy's arm, you go, oh, well, this is the bicep pointing this way, which means this muscle here is going to point that way. And the connection point here is like the chain link going into the arm. It's not exactly, it's not literally that, but I'm saying like that's kind of similar to how it looks. The forearm, if you look at your own forearm and twist it, you'll notice that the muscles like spiral around when you have your hand out and you turn your hand to face the palm towards the ground, and then you turn your hand to face the palm up. You'll see that your arm muscles like twist around the bones to make you do that palm directional change. So if his palm is facing out, you'll know that, like, if you try it yourself, you could put your palm out like that and look at your arm. You'll notice that the arm, let me turn these off, your arm is spiraling. It's like spiraling this way. You can kind of see the twisting, right? You can see like there's like a line. There's a line here that's like, and then it goes like this, and then there's this one here. So it's kind of twisting that way. Spirals, kind of a corkscrew. So when you're studying, what are the tips? What are the practical tips you could take away if you're making a list of this stuff? If you're like, what am I actually saying here? I'm saying that when you study, it's not just about looking at the photo. You need to analyze the photo. You need to really come in here and zoom in and like try and identify the muscle groups. If you're like, oh my god, I don't really know the muscle groups that well, I'm having a hard time doing this, pull up another reference. Pull up an exact model of the muscles and then use both. I'm not, as this kind of little mentorship goes, I'm not trying to limit you. I'm not telling you, I guess I haven't been explicit. I'm not telling you only use the photos to study. I'm telling you do studies of the photos. And studies include, like if you're studying for math, you might have a math book, and then you might have a calculator, and then you might have a piece of paper to write down numbers. And that's like 3 different things you have just to study math. And you might have like a ruler to measure stuff, right? If you're studying geometry. So there's like a bunch of stuff just to study the one thing you're trying to study. So if I say study the photo and you're drawing, you got the photo, that's one thing. Then you're going to draw, that's the other tool. And then you might need an anatomy guide because you don't know about the anatomy yet. You might know a little bit, but you might not exactly be an expert. I'm not an expert. I had to pull this up just to confirm what I was saying because I don't always look up these skeletons and stuff. So pull in your resources. Don't just think about the one image. And I know I wasn't explicit about telling you what to do before, but that's kind of the difference between this being a mentorship and a class. It's not a class. I'm not like telling you this is how you study. This is how I teach you to study. I'm kind of just telling you should study, and now I'm giving you feedback and saying, here are the tips on what I'm seeing, and based on what I'm seeing, you have this here. So you did pull in some stuff. 2 parts of the forearm. Yeah, it's the 2 chunks. That's good. And you see the chain link I was talking about? It's got where's my brush pen? The chain link I'm talking about has got the loop here, and then the loop here, and then the loop here. That's the chain. So you're doing some of this, so let's not shy away from that. But I think you need to analyze it a little more. And I really want you to nail these poses because it'll make your illustration better. And yeah, I think, okay, here are the things you should do. You should redraw that pose in the middle. Really study the photo. We did it together just now, but you should do it on your own. And try another drawing of it. Okay? The next thing you should do, the next thing you should study, what specifically are you going to work on next? I'm going to pull up your Miro board here. The next thing you should work on is actually look at your drawing and draw the poses in the drawing. Okay? Like this pose here is like a guy rock climbing. Okay? So you probably want to look up guy rock climbing on a cliff, no rope, or something like that. And you might see something like this, a guy hanging from a rock. You might Google hanging from rock and man hanging from rock. Try to find no AI. Try to find an actual image of a guy like hanging from a pole. Maybe a guy doing pull-ups, a pull-up bar. Let's see. Pull-ups. Let's say like military, because I think what you'll find is like something similar to here. This here, like you can start seeing. Here we go. This dude here, he's got a bunch of gear on. I'm trying to find ones where it doesn't have a bunch of gear. Something like this. It's like a guy arms out, legs together, pulling himself up. These are the references you would need to look up to get the pose. So once you look up those references, you're going to start seeing things uh, like this arm is like doing this weird noodle thing. Based on everything you've been studying, you know that this arm is wrong because you demonstrated it with some of the references you pulled up. So you got to like draw this arm correctly. Look up how people hold stuff if they're rock climbing or doing pull-ups. You'll find that rarely do people pinch with just their fingers. You probably want to have a better positioning with the hands. Maybe just draw his hand gripping onto this rock, the tooth, and then maybe the arm is like this. That might be a better look for you. Okay. So let's go back to, was it redraw the skateboarding guy pose just for practice? Start working on the poses for the actual illustration. So the guy hanging, the skateboarding pose, anything similar to this would be good to study. I know you have some up here, like this one here. It's probably good. Or this one here. You did a really good job with this one. This one here is pretty good. You did, in taking a look at now, you did draw the torso facing the wrong way. You're drawing the torso is going up and away. And in the actual photo, the torso is coming towards us. It's coming like kind of like he's kind of leaning in towards us, but you drew him going like backwards and away from us. So keep that in mind. So that's what you need to consider for that pose. This pose should be easier. It's just a person sitting. So, person sitting would be good. I think for the faces, you need to look up official art of them facing sideways. I know they have some. There's that one piece of art for the gorillas where they're all like facing this way. They're all facing like in profile. So look up that piece of art and make sure you're matching the model. This head facing this way, I think it would be more interesting if he was facing like down a bit or facing up like towards us more. That makes sense. Let me erase that so you can see what I'm talking about. If the face was like, if the face was kind of like facing us more, I think that would be more interesting to see what he's really looking like. And then kind of look back at that reference you're talking about here, up here. See this reference? See how he's kind of like looking up? He's like looking towards us. I think that's more interesting for this guy. Because otherwise, you have all the characters facing sideways for some reason. Like, that guy's looking this way. He's looking that way. She's looking that way. He's looking that way. Why are they all looking to the right? You might want to have more variety. This one's pretty good. You could probably reference the wrinkles better for the clothing and the feet. Oops. That's the wrong person. I closed yours an accident. The feet would be good to reference, the shoes. But yeah, I think that's everything for you. So redo this one just for the sake of practice. I think you should redo it, make it look really good, and then let's start getting into the actual illustration that you're doing and like thinking about those poses, because you should really be referencing poses similar to the ones in your illustration. But this has been good practice for you. So let's move on now. And I don't want you to get too bored doing the studies, because in the end, you're trying to do an illustration. You're not trying to do a bunch of studies. But you kind of need to do the studies to like lock in the anatomy and what you're doing. Okay, it's a bit of a long one, but I think it all makes sense for you. Let me know if you have any questions. It's looking really good. Otherwise, you've made a lot of good progress, so I don't want you to think that there hasn't been progress. We're just refining more. And the more you get into it, the more we're going to refine. So there's never ending refinement. You'll always need to do more refinement. That's just how it works with this field. Anyway, have a great day. Have a good weekend.